Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of The Bright Side of Life. I am your host, Melissa Bright, and today I am talking with Jennifer Pilates. Jennifer is a mind-body expert entrepreneur. She has been transforming clients' body, mind, and spirits worldwide for over 20 years as a celebrity trainer, an intuitive advisor, empowerment coach, Reiki master healer, and podcast host. That was a mouthful. And today, she is actually going to be giving me a live intuitive reading towards the end of this podcast. So you guys want to stick around for that. But first, we're going to go through everything that Jennifer does, what that means, and all that fun stuff. So, Jennifer, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I am doing so great, Melissa. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here. I love your energies and I love all that you're doing through your podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Jennifer and I have been, I'm pretty sure we met on Clubhouse months ago, and we have been following each other. And I just love seeing your stuff. And I'm like, I got to connect with her. And my first question has to be, Jennifer, is your last name really Pilates?
I love that question. Yes, it is. It is legally Pilates. It's on my license.
Oh my gosh. Amazing.
So I will tell you because some people are going to go, what? I will preface it with the person who asked this question the best was a 10-year-old little boy who came up to me and said, "Excuse me, is this branded or were you born with this last name?" And I looked at him and I said, "Young man, you are very smart and you will go very far in this world." I said, "It is branded."
Yeah.
So it is not my born last name, but it is a branded last name.
That's awesome. And so a lot of people will comment on my podcast, The Bright Side of Life, and my last name is Bright. My last name truly is Bright, and I'm so happy for branding reasons.
Yes, it makes, I'll tell you, when it comes to if you have to trademark or, if you feel, everyone for years, that's all they called me was Pilates.
Yeah.
So it actually became an issue legally wise when I had another last name. And so I sat back and I did some consulting with someone and they were like, change it. Like your life is going to be so much easier. That's who you are. That's who you resonate with. And then for legality purposes, it all made sense. And it just, yeah.
Right.
So I've had it for, oh my gosh, I don't even know, well over 10 years. I don't even know now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I like on Instagram, that's obviously how it reads, but sometimes you just assume like, oh, that's just her Instagram handle. And then once I got into your website, that's how you put your name in your bio. And I'm like, no, this is really what she goes by. This is just not her Instagram handle.
Yeah, this is the real deal. That's who I am. Yeah. And all my licenses, of which I have numerous ones because I tend to change my address. Every time you change your address, you got to get a new license. So I have like a plethora.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I understand that about 20 years ago, give or take, that you were in a traumatic car accident, and basically Pilates, when you went to like rehabilitation for Pilates, that kind of changed your life. I'm probably butchering the story a little bit. So can you tell me, what happened with the car accident and how you got to come to know Pilates as your life?
Yeah, sure. So what happened, I was actually hot and heavy in the corporate world, climbing the ladder, had moved out west. I was in Colorado at the time, running retirement communities and assisted living communities. I was actually specializing in Alzheimer's disease at that time. And I was driving home from work. I was driving from North Glen to Boulder. I was at a red light, 6 lanes of traffic. And I look up into my mirror and I see a car barreling towards me. And, you do the obvious, which is you look, but there was nothing I could do. And the next thing I know is that I woke up and there was a police officer at my window. And I remember thinking, wow, they got here so quick. Well, clearly I had probably gone unconscious for, a little bit of time there because the gentleman, the police officer that was in my window was the guy that hit me. He was on his way home in his personal car, but he still had on his uniform. And so I just, I don't even know, honestly, like I was so blessed and I had such angels around me that I remember my mom in my head, like, no matter what happens, if you're in an accident, you go to the hospital whether you think you need it or not. And so I just remember being like, I want to go to the hospital. I want an ambulance. And, so that happened. And there was all internal soft tissue damage from the base of my skull all the way down my spine. And so soft tissue damage, for those that may not know, it's actually worse than a broken bone. A broken bone is going to break and it's going to heal rather quickly. Whereas soft tissue damage, there are still some residual effects that I deal with every day now still, even all these years later. I mean, much better, 100% better, but still soft tissue damage. When your tissues are receive any sort of traumatic event, there's history that stays in your body. So you have to do a lot of healing, a lot of work to release that. So I, of course, was out of work for quite some time. I think it was 3 months or so, and in and out of doctor's offices about 8 hours a day. I had neurological therapy. I mean, you name it, acupuncturists, chiropractors, trainers, therapists, the whole 9 yards. And a lot of, because my speech was impaired, everything was a little off. And if I went to like go grab a fruit, like I would grab an apple and be like, can I have that orange? So there was a disconnect going on, right? It was a big deal. And in it, you don't see it, right? Like I would go out for a walk and I woke up in a church sitting. Or at that time, I was living with one of my best friends from Cape Cod, and she would come home and the entire house, like everything in the kitchen would have been moved. It would have been, so there's all these things that take place when you have a brain injury, and it's pretty traumatic to say the least. And so part of that was I wasn't getting relief with a lot of the people that I was seeing. And so I was referred to Pilates, and that's how it started. And so I rehabbed for a whole year. And I met lots of, different instructors. And it's important when you have an injury to find someone that specializes in the rehabilitative aspect of it, which I did and was a blessing. And in the backyard there, where I was living in Boulder, was the Pilates Center of Boulder, which is literally the Harvard of all Pilates schools. So again, blessing there, right there for me.
Right.
That opportunity. So as I had the option to go back to work and I was working part-time, no one realized how, let's say, still not with it I was, because I was specializing with Alzheimer's and I was around Alzheimer patients all day. So no one was paying attention that I wasn't coherent all the time. Like I was just, so
fitting in with the crowd.
Fitting in. I was fitting in with the crowd, totally fitting in, and we can laugh about that now. But at the time, it's like, oh my God, it wasn't that bad. And I remember it was just like one of those things, and the corporation was changing and I wasn't happy. And I was still doing all of these doctor's appointments. And you know what? That wasn't going to work for them in the corporate world. And I was very savvy I'm still savvy, but I was very savvy, 25, 26-year-old climbing the ladder. And I just went to them and I said, I know you're about to do layoffs. So I'm throwing my hand in the towel, I'm putting my hand in there and saying, go ahead and lay me off. And they did, which was again, a blessing. And that's how my entrepreneurish started. So through that, the car accident was ending on the legality aspects. Back in the day, you could get a little money off of a car accident. And so the little bit that I got was literally just enough to pay for Pilates school. Wow. And so I went, literally. And so I went to the Pilates school and studied for a year. And their schooling, when you go through it, it's much more like a physical therapist schooling, except for you don't get that title at the end. You're the Pilates trainer. And so it was my specialty right away was physical rehab and I always said, if I could come out and help one person not be in pain, because I didn't want anyone to ever feel everything that I went through, both mentally, physically, spiritually, breaking down all of it. And so that's how that journey began. And so I didn't know, I just went for it. And then, right after schooling had ended, there were some things going on in my family back east on Cape Cod. So then I moved back and started to try to do some Pilates there. And at the time, it was so far advanced for my little island that people were like, I don't know about that. And so I was like, oh my God, what? So I gave it a whirl. It didn't quite fly. Moved back to Colorado, opened up a beautiful studio up on Lake Dillon, and was still, I'm a gypsy. I wasn't completely fulfilled. Went back to Cape Cod, opened up an incredible studio, which to this day, it's so funny. I was talking to someone yesterday and I said, my studio on Cape Cod, it was in Osterville, was truly, out of all the studios that I've had over 7, that was my favorite one. It was
Yeah.
so special, and the family and the community and everything was so healing based at that time that it was
Right.
my favorite studio of all. So it was really been quite an adventure over the years how things have progressed, where all those years, here I say, well, oh, I was just Pilates training people. I really wasn't,
Right.
because so much more came out of it. My empathic gifts came out, and the healing came out, and then more of the intuitive side came out. And so it's really just blossomed. It makes me think of your sunflowers and your logo, like just blossomed into this most amazing garden where I'm able to help people on every level, which when you take it back to the essence of Pilates is helping people on their mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
So, you got to go sometimes, the universe really knows what it's doing, even though you're in the middle of something going, what is happening to me?
Right.
And I always say, and I learned this from one of my mentors, is that there is a blessing and a lesson in everything. And if you can get to that point in a moment where you can see that, that changes your mindset and that changes everything.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with that. And I have to usually take those moments because sometimes I'm like, why is this happening? Why is this
Mhm.
happening? To back up a little bit about Pilates, I will tell you my experience with Pilates is literally Beachbody, Autumn Calabrese doing like 4 times some Pilates moves. So for us that don't know a lot about Pilates, like I come from a cardio and lifting weights.
Mhm.
That's all that is in the fitness world, and some walking and jogging. What
Yeah.
is Pilates, and like what kind of exercises would people be doing? How would they know if this is for them?
Okay. So we've all been programmed as we grow up and over the ages to be in a gym. And what we see in the mirror is what we're trying to fix, right? So that's the outer layer. Everyone's trying to accomplish that outer layer. With
Yeah.
Pilates, that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to work your innermost muscles, your innermost body. And guess what? It's a two for the price of one. By working the deepest components and muscles inside, we're already working what you're seeing. So
Yeah.
right away, you're getting twice as much bang for your buck, right? As far as that goes. With the body, you're literally working on strengthening, lengthening, and stretching all at the same time. And when you do that, you develop this lean body. You're not constricting and bulking, which years ago we used to laugh and call that the East Coast. That was the East Coast guys workout.
Yeah.
Shout out to my lovers in the East Coast. Love you all. But, that is what what was happening.
Right.
But when you look at a body like Tom Brady is a huge,
Yeah.
Pilates person. When you look at the NHL hockey players and you look at the NBA, all NBA and the MLB, when you see that lean body, that's what that's all about.
Okay.
Yes, because when you're working with Pilates, and some people think, well, how am I going to get that on the mat? Well, there's also equipment so that you
Yeah.
can use. And when you do that, you're working with your body's weight and the machine. So we're not adding weight. We're just working with yourself. When you're
Yeah.
doing that, it's virtually impossible to overdo it because you can't overdo what you have. So it really is a really cool thing. And say, for instance, if you came to me and you were like, oh my God, Jennifer, like my knee hurts. And I'd be like, okay, great. I'm still going to target from your core outward, because as I do that, not I, but we together are
Right.
working on putting everything into alignment. If we just go and look at your knee, great, but that means your one hip is off, your other shoulder's off, and something's off in your neck. So we always come to your core first and work outward. And that's why people feel so great. You immediately feel the benefit, and you immediately feel taller and leaner. And that's all within the first few sessions. So it
Yeah.
really, and it's wonderful because it's available to everyone from the ages of, little ones, 7, 8 years old to 88, as I always say, is from, that's actually, I think my oldest client at one point in time, she had finally gone into her 90s. But,
Wow.
that's the beauty of it. You can go from the hockey player to the 89-year-old to the 13-year-old who may be in gymnastics or wherever, they are in their life.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I want to, like, I do Beachbody at home, and there's a whole Pilates like thing, and I haven't done it yet. But the first things that I did with Autumn, I was like, I didn't know what to expect with Pilates. I had no idea, but it was definitely like what I remember. Lots of like burning of like the thighs. I'm pretty sure. What is egg beaters a thing in Pilates or no?
It could be. Depending on the instructor, you're going to have some different fun names, but yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I will never forget those. That was like torture, but good torture.
Yeah, it is. And that's, the cool thing, and you may have noticed this too, is after you've done your workout and you get up and walk away, you can still walk, you can still
Yeah.
sit on the toilet, you can go up and down stairs. And even the next day you can do that. And that's the blessing. Joseph really designed this as a principle of something that you could do every day.
Right.
Ultimately,
Yeah.
so most people do it 2 to 3 times a week, which is wonderful. And that's great. As it's a wonderful complement to lots of other things that people are doing, whether that be yoga or, like you're saying, hiking or HIIT training or,
Yep.
all exercise is great exercise. And I always say, find something that works for you. For me, honestly, and I know I've been doing this forever, like, I don't like to work out. I mean, I
Me
don't.
neither.
Like I have met some people that do, but I really don't. And
Right.
so like you, like I love my Pilates and I love walking, and that's really what I love doing. And
Yep.
and of course I'll add some yoga in there too. But that's kind of it. Like if you ask me to do a HIIT training, it's not in my wheel. Like my body literally, like I'd rather go get a filling. That's
Oh,
more
wow.
enjoyable to me because my
Yeah.
body doesn't resonate. It's not that I don't like it and I don't think it works. I think I absolutely 100%
Right.
does. But for my body, the way that it works with the mind, body, spirit all together, I don't get that out of HIIT.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
me.
Right.
I just get tortured.
Right. And I love that you say that because I've noticed like me getting older. So I'm 36 now, that some of these things that I used to do in my 20s are not as easy. Like I used to do Shaun T's insanity program. I
Mm,
used to do his insanity program. I've done it 4 times and kicked ass at it. Like got great results, but my knees are not where they
right.
used to be. So I'm
Mhm.
looking for more like low impact I just like different, the hiking. I'm doing bar right now.
Oh,
I love bar so much. And I'm excited to find new programs like Pilates and stuff to do because I'm getting older and I can't do
mhm.
those hit things. I don't want to say I can't do them, but I want to do something totally different.
Right. Right. And I get that. And remember, it's age is just a number. It's how you feel,
Yep.
right? Ultimately, that's what I want everyone to know. And with your body, you want to do what feels good and what feels right. And as the number of whatever we are, as we age, right? It's important for us to be working with our body. It's important for the flexibility, for the agility, for everyday things that we
Yeah.
want to be able to accomplish and to stay flexible
Yep.
and to be mobile, right? And not do, ideally, Sean's program is pretty damn intense, girl. I'll give
Yes,
you props. But
it
yeah,
is.
like jumping up and down on my knees, I'm just like, I don't like that. Like I'll go play
No.
tennis. I'll play tennis. But I
Right.
mean, it doesn't feel good in my body, especially someone who has had a lot of soft tissue damage. Like
Yeah.
that's just not good. It's not great
Yep.
for me.
Yeah.
But if someone else loves it, hey, you do it. Kudos. But
Exactly.
yes, as we age, and it's important to remember our bodies, both men and women, our bodies are our emotions and our I'm losing my train of thought there. Hormones. Thank you. Hormones.
Ah,
Our
yes.
hormones change. And as they change, so does our body sometimes, right? And
Yep.
I don't like when people go, well, I'm 52, so this is just what happens. And I'm like, hell no, it's not. It's
Right.
about what you're allowing happen. What are we eating? What are we drinking? What aren't we doing? Are we moving? Do we have a mind body practice? Right.
Yep.
So it's a little bit of everything. So I give you props for recognizing, like, wow, you know what? I love that at one time. I don't love it today. So where am I being led by the
Yeah.
universe? What is best for my body now?
Yep. And I I love it. Like I seriously do and I can't wait. Like with my bar program, I haven't totally stuck to it for the 8 weeks. So I really want to go like 8 weeks hard and do it.
Mhm.
And see the difference, because there was no jumping, no nothing or anything like that. The hiking, I absolutely love that. It's being out in nature. So there's a whole nother component to that. And I am listening to my body. Do I think I could go and do an insanity class? Yes, I do. But why not try something else
Yes.
out? And yeah, but I don't want to
Yeah.
be 52 and say I'm 52 and well, I'm just 52. I can't move
Mm-mm.
anymore. I'm
No,
not.
no, no. And one thing that's really cool that we haven't touched on yet, and I don't know if you've read it about Pilates, is Joseph Pilates coined his guarantee, which was after 10 sessions, you would feel different, completely different in your body. After 20 sessions, you'd begin to see and notice results. And after 30 sessions, you'd have a new body. And that guarantee sticks.
Right.
Like, I mean, I was training someone recently where I am here, and I haven't done a lot of in-person training like a lot of people haven't in the last few years.
Right.
And this person was like, oh my God, like in 3 sessions, she's like, I think I'm taller. And I'm like, you are, because because you improve your posture, you're using from your core. Like, how amazing is this? Like, it's just so wonderful when you know
Yeah.
that that's available to you. And you're like, oh my God, in 30, like there are so many months, like, let's be clear, in the last 2 years where I was like, okay, if I just did Pilates every day for 30 days, oh my God. And then I'd look over and I'd be like, yeah, but like, like
Yep.
every other human being. So I want people to know, especially the last 2 years, like this was challenging. No,
Yeah.
I know tons of people who either hit training hard
Yep.
or they didn't.
Yep.
I actually spent a lot more time in the pool and I was doing Pilates, which was
Yeah.
freaking phenomenal. And I loved it. And it was a combination of bar and Pilates. So it was like, I'm always doing Pilates. It's just where and how am I doing it?
Sure. Yep.
Mhm.
That is awesome. Okay. So we're going to, well, it's kind of on the same path, but you are a spiritual person. That's what I'll call you. Obviously transferring mind, body, and spirit. So my first question, the first thing we talked earlier this morning, and you said, I'm not your usual like spiritual person. So can you explain to me what exactly that you meant by that? And then in addition to that question, then what does spirituality mean to Jennifer?
Okay. So the reason it's really funny, the reason the messages that you and I went back and forth with this morning, I said that to you was because let's be clear, I am an intuitive empath and I could sense fear. And so I want to be like, no, girl, it's not what you think. I'm not over here with a voodoo doll. I'm not over here like it's all good. Like I'm not that one. I'm not that person. So I could sense that. And I was like, no, 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 don't worry about it. And I'm
Yep.
not. I would say that it's in my life. It's in everything I do. It's in every conversation I have. It's been in a lot of the conversation that we've already had. It's
Mhm.
just how someone hears it. I don't feel
Okay.
that I need to shout out on the top of the roofs everywhere that I'm this intuitive empathic healer and I can heal you and I can. No, sometimes me just having a conversation with you there's so much healing energy that comes through my voice that I can already tap into someone's energies to help. So that's what I
Yeah.
mean in the sense that I'm just normal. My Pilates sessions since day one, 20 some years ago, have always been healing.
Yeah.
When people just hear my voice, there's healing in my voice. It's just how I am and how God and my angels in the universe, how they brought it through me. Now there are other healers who are very different and they're amazing and they're going to shout it from the rooftops and you're be like, holy moly, sweet Jesus.
Right.
But that's just not how I am. Like, it's just how it comes across for me. I don't enjoy personally, if I'm looking up a healing person or I want someone to do Reiki on me, I'm more apt to go to the person who's like, this is what I've learned. This was my traumatic experience. And this is how I can help you versus to like people will use the word woo woo. That
Yeah.
is not a word that is in my vocabulary. It just repulses me.
Right.
Oddly enough, do I have psychic abilities? Yes. I don't use that word. I don't resonate with it. I'm an intuitive. That's what I resonate with. So it just, Is it a tomato to a tomato for some people? Absolutely.
Right.
But it's how you resonate and how you deliver.
Yeah.
And for me, whether I'm, working with a client, whether it's on the Pilates training session, or whether we're doing a coaching session, and whether that's business or life, or whether it's a full-on intuitive reading session, I don't turn it on and turn it off. Oh, by the way, I just want everyone to know, like, it's always there. So the beauty of it is that someone can come to me and I can be already 12 steps ahead and save this person so much time because of these gifts that have been bestowed upon me.
Yeah.
I used to say, is it a gift or is it a curse? Because there are times where I'd be like, oh, because I feel so much being an empath. I'm like the master empath. I literally feel, I feel the birds, I feel the trees. I knew months before something was happening with the world. And I can't always explain it and put it into words. So on certain levels, you're like, it can be a little much.
Yeah.
And so it's learning how to embrace and how to live. And especially because these things have heightened over the years, whereas before they didn't. And of
Yeah.
course, like everyone in your 20s, I was probably, having a heyday and having some adult beverages and was numbing it out and didn't even realize what I was doing. So, and everyone kind of goes through that cycle when you're having these awakenings and things are going on. So I would say, that's a little bit of how I'm normal. I swear I do partake in organic wine or champagne on occasion. I will say I can count on one hand in the last 2 years, only because for me, health is, the utmost. I want to keep my immune system good, but it is true organic wine, dry farm wines that I love. That's it. And it's very low alcohol, no sugar. And it's just, oh my gosh, it's divine. Is all I can say about that. So that's a sweet treat. Sweets,
Yeah.
I'll eat sweets. I say the F-bomb. I am normal and I get upset, but it is different now than it was 10 years ago. Like
Yeah.
now, like you, like if I'd be like, oh my God, why is that happening to me? Within about 20 seconds, I take a breath and I'm like, no, why is this happening for me?
Ah.
So there's an example. So to me, all of that, when I can embrace, you know, my own meditation and doing my Pilates work, when I'm in a good balance and I'm eating decent, I'm an 80-20 eater too. So when I balance everything out, that's my spiritual life. Like, what makes someone spiritual? I have love in my heart. I have gratitude in my heart. I believe in God and my angels and the universe and the Dalai Lama. And I believe in it all. And it all should
Yeah.
exist and coexist together. So
Yeah.
that's, I think, how I'm definitely different from maybe how other people deliver their messages. Or mine could be, and sometimes it's weird. Like I was in a store and this girl, she was so sweet. I was buying these dishes and she was getting married and she said, well, she didn't know she was getting married, but she knows now. And she said something to me about like living at home. She didn't need dishes, da 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 da. And she goes, I don't have a ring. And I said, yet. And she just looked at me and I said, and I didn't even know where it came from. Like I wasn't like, it was just like,
Right.
yet. And she goes, she just kind of looked at me and I said, well, and she goes, well, he hasn't proposed. I don't have a ring. And I just, again, yet.
Right.
And, so we talked a little bit more and I said, look, I said, relax. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, you're going to be very happy come January, February. And that's all I'm going to say. And I walked away and she was just like, but that doesn't happen very often that I do things like that. I have another really great, incredible girlfriend who's my mentor who literally, we will be out walking down the street. She will grab you by the hair to stop you to deliver a message. That's not me, but she's phenomenal at what she does. So everybody is very different in how it goes. So,
Yeah.
but there are certain people who think, I don't want to say that I'm crazy, but they definitely aren't on my wavelength, right? And that's
Yeah.
okay because this is my journey. It's not
Right.
their journey. They don't need to know. They don't need to figure it out. I don't need your blessing. I don't, thank you for the advice. I'll consider it kind of thing. That takes, oh my God, that's a lot of therapy and a lot of years right there,
Right.
But it's getting to that point of going, okay, I'm being guided to move. Great. but no one's telling me where. You know what I mean? It's those kind of fun things. So it's a
Yeah.
really fun blessing of a life. And for me, it's finding that balance and finding like-minded people around me that just get me. Like I don't
Right.
need the Dalai Lama as my best friend, but I want someone to get me and not go, roll their eyes or there's got to be that support. Is that, if
Sure.
people are around me for sure. So
Yeah. How how did you come to know that you were this intuitive person? And I say that because I feel like people say like listen to your intuition, listen to your inner voice, listen. And I literally had a conversation with this person on TikTok because I made a video about like listening to your inner voice, and he's like, "It are you like hearing things or is it like," and I'm like, "No, I'm not like physically hearing somebody in
Mhm.
my." It's really hard to explain. So when was your first time that you really noticed this, and were you like, what is happening?"
Yeah. It's interesting for me when I look back, I've had it since I was a very young child. So for people that resonate with being an empath, it comes about in two ways. One, some are born with it. Most of the time, it develops in childhood due to traumatic situations. And the empathic gifts that you receive are, call it God's protection, your angel's protections. So you have a sense, right? Like when I was little, I can remember a lot of times I always had upset stomachs. I didn't feel good. So I was always getting out of going to certain family events or certain family things, to the point that people thought there were family members that thought I had an eating disorder. And it wasn't that. Like I didn't, but at the time, if you would have looked at me at a child and said that, like I wouldn't have known that in that moment. I
Yeah.
just knew my stomach didn't feel good. I was young. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to be around these people. So so when I look back as a child, or certain things that my mother will tell me that I've said to her as a child, and I looked at her and I said, "I said that? I said that and you didn't listen?" Like, you know.
Right.
So it's for me, it's been there. When I had this car accident, and that was in
Mm.
1997, that's really, like people say, I had this big awakening. I mean, certainly, surely that's what this was. It didn't appear at that time because everybody's is kind of different, right? But
Totally.
that's when all of these things, because here I was in Boulder, Colorado, in a place with all of these natural modalities that I had never heard of, being a sweet, naive country bumpkin from Cape Cod, of which I love. I had no idea about craniosacral. I didn't really know acupuncture. I didn't, I think I knew about a chiropractor or a massage. I did. So it was like this whole world went, ah, and opened
Yeah.
up in all of those. So at that moment, that's when those gifts happened. And it was through, if you were a Pilates client and you came in and you were injured and you were in pain, you would walk out that door feeling fine, and I would have your pain. So at that point in time, that's when I really started to know. And so I knew enough to be like, okay, I need to wear amethyst and I need to wear it on my left wrist, because if I do
What's
that,
that?
so amethyst is a crystal. I'll show you. I actually happen to have one on today.
Okay.
That's purple. Oops, there we go. It's purple.
Okay.
And so by wearing this on your left wrist, this is going to absorb the energy and the emotions that are coming at me and help protect my aura and my being. So I started doing that. I started, saging at that point in time, which you saw me, the smoke has now stopped.
Yeah.
The incense are done. There was all these little things that I started doing back in the day when everything was developing. So for me, it wasn't this conscious aha of I'm hearing people, I'm seeing people. I don't get that. Like
Okay.
you're saying, I feel. I mean, that's what empaths do. We feel. I happen to be to like the 10th degree of most empaths. I mean, it's crazy what I feel, and it's taken a long time, and I'm still working on being better protected so that I don't feel, everything, even though I
Yeah.
do. So that's one of the aspects of it. As far as when people ask, do you hear things? Do I see things? I mean, I don't. Like you, it's not, you don't, it's hard to explain when you say, well, oh, I just got this message. And it's just something that comes through. And it is very hard to explain. I don't hear people talking in my head necessarily like you. I don't have that. I do get flashes of things. I do get some people will say downloads. If I'm in a meditation, I will get answers, to questions, or like before this, when you and I were talking and you said, oh, would you be open to doing a reading? And I said, sure. I mean, immediately, like all of your people were like, what? And I was like, not now. Like, that's not the time. So it just depends. Or I can be walking down a street and be told, go left. And I'm like, but I go left.
Right.
So it's really interesting for each person. Some people are very good mediums, which means that they have that ability to connect with those that have passed over. That's part of me, but I wouldn't call myself a medium. I have that ability, but somebody that just does that, like that's their thing. Like I am like the empath of all empaths. I'm incredibly intuitive. Please don't say, anybody that like, it drives me crazy when I do admit to family or friends, like, hey, this is what I am. This is what I do. And you're still going to sit here and lie to me to my face right now. You're going to sit here and lie. And I can't tell you how many times, like, I just sit there and I'm like, I don't even believe this right now.
Right.
Like, oh my goodness. So it's funny things like that. Or when things happen in the world, like the other day, I said to my girlfriend, I said, oh my God. I said, I got these messages and I just got to share them because this is some wild stuff. And so I was telling her and she goes, oh my God. And then don't you know, then within 24 hours, there was stuff that started to unfold on the news and she was like, holy moly. And I was like, just saying, so it's interesting. It's interesting. It's spidey antennas. Like I say, I really like to make it normal. I mean, I work with everyone from somebody who's calling and wanting to know why their boyfriend hasn't called to heads of states and people in government and, big corporations. And so it's the gamut.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, my work is, it's really fun and interesting. But at the end of the day, it's about serving. And so it's about serving and helping others. And that is why I am here. And so when the days that I do get frustrated with my abilities, like you didn't feel well earlier, I woke up with like anxiety to the 10th degree, of which came out. And I was like, what? And then I had to take a step back and went, oh, okay, we're having some solar flares today. Oh, okay, this is going on with the earth. So it's those moments that aren't as fun as some of the other moments, but it's just recognizing it and going, okay, you should look at the blessing of how in tune I am with Mother Earth, and that, as the empaths, we're here to sound the alarm. We're like the elephants going through the forest, warning you of something that may be happening. And so that's really when people can look at, if they're an empath out there and they're listening and they're frustrated with their world because they're feeling so drained in emotion. And I want you to know that you are here to deliver a message. We are the ones that let people know, hey, stuff's about to happen. X, Y, and Z. Let's protect ourselves. Or, hey, there's this incredible good news that I can deliver for you. So it's all in how you look at it and how you work with it. And I want everyone to know I can say that today. I might not have been able to say that 3 years ago this way, or 5 years ago. I didn't quite get it, but we're always evolving, and your gifts will always change. They'll expand, they'll decrease, you'll get more, so it's an interesting ride.
I cannot even imagine. And for me, like, I probably don't even have to tell you this, like this, it doesn't sound crazy to me, but it's a little bit like hard to believe. Like I'm not afraid to admit that. Just, I'm probably not the first type person that's ever said that to you. But I feel like it's because sometimes people are so desperate for answers and they want this one answer, and either you give them that answer, like they want to hear it, but then they can't believe it because it's so damn good to be true. Or it's the opposite end of the spectrum, or it's not what they like. They probably have expectations going in. And so if it doesn't happen the way they think, then, oh, she's crazy. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, whatever. I, for me, just want to have knowledge about it. I don't want to judge somebody. I just want to learn about it. That's what I want to do, to be able to say, oh, like, anyways, um, I'm an empath, but I don't know if I feel like I have intuitions like with me, and my daughter, but like that's because I know my daughter so well.
You do. Well, and that goes back to something you said earlier where everyone has intuition and everyone has a gut reaction. Like you just have that, oh, that doesn't feel good. I don't think I should do it. That's your intuition. Now
Yeah.
it's all, do you want to develop it? Do you want to work with it? Or some people never touch it, but they're phenomenal, right? Everything they do touches to gold and they manifest great and they do that. But they're not walking around saying that they're some sort of manifesting expert. They're the CEO of a company. So it's all in how someone just works with something. And so
Yeah.
for you, like you do have intuitive gifts. You are coming into a place where you are more inquisitive and okay, but you're okay to arm's length. That's where you're at right now with this.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot that could come in very quickly. And in your subconscious, you actually really know this, but the logical part and the subconscious need to become more friends. They need to be a little more friendlier so that it can all come in. Because there's a lot of emotions that you have. There's a lot of stored emotions. There's a lot of stuff that you're still working through that you're trying to get through. Sorry, now we're going into reading accidentally. And there's a lot that comes up. There is a lot with your daughter. Your daughter's incredibly intuitive. She definitely just like has fairy angel wings when I look at her. So when I look at her, I'm given a bit of an image. It doesn't necessarily mean exactly your daughter, but they're showing me her energy, her soul. That's what I'm seeing with those wings. And then that's what they, kind of when I tap into your energy, kind of what they show me right away. So there's a lot. And it's like, for where you're at, which is this incredible place, and it's sort of like we're down. So this is what I'm being shown down in a meadow. And if you notice at this point in time, I will look away from you. I won't look at you because that's how the messages come through. So I just wanted you to know that. And so we're down at this meadow, and then there's like a moat, and then there's this big castle. Or there's a road that goes around the castle. And it's kind of like, where do you want to go? I don't want to say don't. It's okay. Fear can be good. Okay. So fear, we all know, right? False evidence appearing real. But when you're in anxiety attack, boy, that stuff's really freaking real.
Yep.
Somebody else said something much better to me this past year, and it helped me get on a plane. And it was that fear is nothing more than excitement without breath. Whoa, makes you take a minute. Take a minute. So what they're showing me with you, it's like there's all this, I want you to be more excited, but right now there's a bit more of like, that's holding on. Like literally,
yeah.
Like I see that castle. Well, okay, can we breathe and get excited about it? It doesn't mean that there's a witch in there. It doesn't mean that there's a king that wants to behead you. I want you to be excited about it. I want you to know that you are worthy, that everything that's been placed in your soul, and this goes for anyone listening this part, if you have it in your heart and you have this sense that that's been placed inside of you, that's what's supposed to unfold over your lifetime at some point for you. And so you don't have to take the long way anymore. You can just go over the moat. There's a bridge. If you knock, they'll pull the little bridge board down. They'll let you come on right on in. That's all you got to do. You don't have, you don't have to play with the monkeys and the this and the that and da, 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 da. You're to this place. You don't have to continue to take that hard road to prove anything to anyone, including yourself. So whatever that was all about, that was what kind of came in around you, right? Like enough already. Like you're amazing. You're fabulous. Stop taking the hard road, girlfriend. Make it easy, right?
Yeah.
Keep it freaking easy. I always say if something starts out hard, I can promise you, not even being an intuitive, it's not going to get any easier.
Right.
So if something isn't going right, take a moment, breathe, see what the universe has to bring you in. And you might need to go left.
Right.
But you don't just have to take a hard left, right? We don't have to be reactive. We want to feel it out, and that's okay too. And sometimes they're saying like, but she's waterlogged in her feelings. She's so tired of feeling like she's kind of over it to
Mhm.
some extent. And that's okay too, right? You have been through a lot
Yeah.
in your life. You've been through a ton and you do feel a lot. So you feel your daughter's emotions and you do feel other people's emotions, and your empathic gifts are coming out more so. And they will continue unless you say enough. And that's
Yeah.
something that a lot of people don't know about, is that you can say, no,
Yeah.
I that not today. This is too much. No, no,
Right.
no. And that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay too. So
It's
that's just a little bit without you asking any questions. I don't know where all that just came from. And if you asked me to, here's the beauty of that too. If you asked me to repeat any of that, I couldn't, because a lot of that was more just the way that came in out of left field was very channeled.
yeah.
So it's a good thing you're recording.
Right. I know. And like I'm seriously so excited to hear more. Um and we will. But I know there's also other things you do, and if this is all the same thing, like I said, I'm very new to any of this, but you also do like Reiki healing. What is that? How is that different than what we are talking about now? Is that different than what we are talking about now? I've met people, but I've never like asked them what that meant. So what
Mhm.
does that mean?
So I use the word Reiki healer, and I have gone through the courses and I've certified through that because people are comfortable with those words. I've been an energy healer since I started being a Pilates trainer.
Okay.
That's how kind of I look at it, as the universe, God molded me. So I'm always healing through my Pilates work, through energetically, through my hands. I've always had that ability. Now, I didn't always understand it, right? So a
Yeah.
good friend of mine had said, "Hey, I think you should take a Reiki class. I think this is really going to help you hone in on this incredible skills that you have." So I thought, okay, great, cool. So I did. And then I took all three certifications so that I could teach people how to also do it and hone it in. So what Reiki is so we have chakras in our body,
Mhm.
okay? And they are different colors. They help keep us balanced and aligned. So imagine that you have a line going up through your spine, and we have these 7 different colors that come up, and they all do something different. And just like anything else, they can get a little clogged, they can get a little off. And when someone is working with Reiki energy, they can be in person, they can be distant healing. Like earlier today, I said, "Don't worry." I said, "I'm sending you some healing energy. You'll feel a little bit better."
Yeah.
Um, it depends on your practitioner. And so Reiki healing is all about coming into the body, coming into your energy field. And it could be, say, if you're in pain,
Mhm.
easing your pain. If you're in anxiety, easing that anxiety, helping to release what is stuck.
Okay.
So for instance, say you're feeling anger, and so you've got this blockage, right? A little bit. So Reiki's gonna come in, and I say Reiki because it's not me, right? I'm the vessel. This energy comes through the universe. I happen to be the vessel that can bring it to you, and as we're a different practitioner, and release that block and just help it to go. We hold on to so much and go back to the soft tissue damage. So when we hold on to anger and it's in our body and it's in our cells, it begins to manifest into dis-ease of one kind or another.
Yep.
That's how we manifest so many different things, right? Into diseases in our bodies and into ailments. So when we have energy work, when we're cleared and keeping our energy field cleared, then we're more aligned and we're healthier. So to me, it's very relaxing. I mean, you can fall asleep when someone does it too. I think it's amazing. I had a
Yeah.
girlfriend when I was driving cross country, and I remember I was in Memphis. I had pulled in a real bad situation in the town, and I was a mess. And I phoned her, and she just immediately, like, it was like, it's like, think of it like a big hug. Like someone's
Okay.
giving you such a beautiful hug that you're just like, "Ah, I can breathe."
Right.
But feeling
Okay.
that from head to toe and just this beautiful release. And it's wonderful. Because a lot of times it's more about emotional release, it's about energetic release and blockages. Other times
Yep.
it very well could be pain. And I think the first time that my mother ever experienced something from me, we were shopping in Target and the carriage was there. This is, I should say, this isn't a funny story, but it is. And so she knocked her ankle on the carriage
Ugh.
in such a horrific way that she turned white. And she just looked at me and she's like, I'm going to pass out. I'm going to pass out. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm like, grab a hold of this. And I went down towards her ankle and I just started feeding energy into it. I mean, when I do it, I feel like tinglies on my hand, so I could feel it. And she was like, what are you doing? She had never seen me do this. I hadn't, and I was just giving her what I could. And then she just looked, she's like, I'm going to pass out. I'm like, no, you're fine. And I came up, and she sat down. I gave her some water and she goes, I don't feel the pain. And the people rushed over and they want her to fill out all this stuff and they're bringing ice. And she's looking at me like, what just happened? And then we got up and she walked out of the store and she was like, oh my God, like, what did you do?
Yeah.
So that was her first experience because she had never known. So, I mean, and of course, it's very interesting, for how it works for each and every person. But, Reiki has long been brought into hospitals to help cancer patients, to help ease people that are transitioning over to the other side.
Right.
I mean, it goes back so many hundreds of years. Reiki has been around more than hundreds of years, as ancient traditions. And so it's a beautiful modality, and people are more comfortable with the word Reiki than they are energy healer.
Which is crazy because I would much rather hear energy healer, I guess, because I don't know. I know the word Reiki, but I don't know its origin, the history, where energy, I know what that means, because we're all energy. So
everything is energy.
Yeah. So when you say energy healer, I'm like, oh, I know what that means. Where Reiki confuses me a little bit.
Isn't that interesting? And so I really have found, and I've moved quite a bit all over the United States, it depends on where you are. And so where I currently am, the keyword would be Reiki. Where I was, it would have been energy healer. Now it will be interesting to see where I'm going, what it is.
Yeah. You got to change it a little bit.
You just kind of tweak it. So like you're saying, so people are comfortable and people understand.
Yep, exactly. You had mentioned a little bit about manifesting, and I feel like I keep seeing this stuff, around, and you can manifest your dreams and all this stuff. So we all want to be able to do that.
Right? It's amazing. I love
it. How can we, first of all, what does that mean? And how can we start doing that today? How can we start manifesting our dreams today, or whatever it is that we want today?
Right. So what a great change into this, because like what you just said, everything is energy. Your energy, I'm energy. We're all connected. We are all brothers and sisters, every one of us on this world. Money is not money. Money is energy. That is just a piece of paper. That means nothing, right? So manifesting is all about your mindset. And if you want something, you can make it happen. So what you think is what you draw to you. If we're sitting here and we're just, negative Nellies, we're going to bring in more negative Nellies, right? So the easiest way I can explain this, you walk into the office, everybody's like sitting there, you're having your Zoom and everyone's like, rah, rah, rah. Well, guess what? You came in all holly jolly and now you're like, rah, 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 too, because everybody's energies and energy passes and you catch the energy. Whereas if you keep the key, so I would call that a lower vibration energy, which I don't tolerate. I just don't like to be around it. It doesn't feel good to me. I can walk into a store and be like, ugh, I don't want to be here today. So it's like, you want high energy, high octane, right? For anybody who's listening, that's what you want. You want that high. You want to feel good. You're around that person and you're like, oh my God, I feel so good. I was around her. She was so happy today. That is the energy where you manifest. And the key with manifesting, and what a lot of people don't tell you in their 5-day, 20-day challenge of manifesting, is that the key is you've got to feel it. You've got to believe it, right? So I do believe in vision boards. I do believe in, if you want to have a gratitude journal, I believe in all of that. I don't think there's any one right or wrong way. The key is to feeling it and knowing that it's already yours. So first, there's always working with I am. I am anything after it, that's the key. I am a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I am a multi-billionaire philanthropist. You're putting that out there, but you have to believe it, right? So back in the day, people would be just saying all this stuff, but if you don't believe it and you don't feel it in the core of your body, it's not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So I always like to say, start small. So what can you do today? So you're driving to the mall, or you're driving to Target, you're driving to the grocery store. Once you're driving, be like, I am so excited for this front row parking spot. Keywords, I am. And the way in which I stated that, it's already there. It's already mine.
Yeah.
And I'm giving gratitude. We've got to be in a mindset of being grateful and gratitude. The more that you attract things to you, it's because you're grateful. You're in that state. You're in that high vibrational mode. So that's where you want to be. Now, if someone says, okay, well, I'm ready to go all in. I want a vision board. What do I have to do now? And you say, okay, well, you get whatever works for you. Is it a board? Is it a piece of paper? What is it? And be specific. That's what a lot of people don't do. They don't get specific. You must be specific. And I'll tell you, this year, I had one of my most incredible favorite friends and mentors on, Marie Diamond. Now, she is the feng shui manifester of all gurus in the world. And every time I talk to her, just when I think I've like perfected it, I learned something new. So I was like, Marie, I got everything going. I got the vision board. I got this. I got that. I got the money. I got, I have the $1 million bills. I went out and bought not the real ones that you can. They're not like, you know what I mean? So, and she goes, what did you write on them? And I was like, I'm sorry, what? What did you write on them? I didn't know I was supposed to write on them. Where it never said that anywhere. What do you mean? And so basically it's like, so you have $3 million there. Well, the universe is like, well, great. What are you going to do with it? The universe wants to know. So the more specific you are. So if I say the $3 million is there. So what is that for? Is that for an RV? Is that for your house? Is that for a house in this town, in this county? How specific can you be? So then I had other stuff. Say you have other stuff on your vision board and you're like, oh my gosh, I did what, Jennifer and Melissa talked about and it came true. Don't take it off right away. Take a sticky note and write thank you. And then put that over whatever it is and leave it there for a few weeks. Then take off the thank you and then take that off. So it's all about, and I mean, those are just minute little tidbits. I mean, I can't even tell you, but the biggest thing is being specific.
Okay.
Being in a mindset of gratitude. Like, it's already mine. I am so grateful for this.
Okay.
Don't worry about the how. That's not your business. You already have it. You are going from A to Z. It doesn't matter what is in between. It's already yours. Another cool thing to do is, like, for instance, say you want the like 50,000 foot RV, right? Go to the RV place, right? Because then that's you and I there.
Yeah.
Go to the RV place. Look at RVs. Get in the RV. Touch it. Feel it. Sit in it. And make it yours. Walk away with that energy. The universe doesn't know money. The universe doesn't, you know what I mean? The universe doesn't know finance. The universe doesn't care about that.
Right.
Think of all the things, whether someone, believes in God or the Dalai Lama, or you pray to Oprah, I mean, water into wine. Hello. The sea parting. Hello. I mean, literally our world shut down in 30 freaking days, people. Right. Things can happen.
Anything can, exactly. I say that all the time.
And we are so in this incredible manifesting time period right now. And that's why people don't understand why certain things are happening. And they're like, well, I want to make the world a better place. Okay, please stop watching the news and please stop engaging. Let's engage in something positive. We can be aware of what's going on while we're helping to create a more positive, gratitude, healthier narrative instead of, diving into something else. And to remember too, like with the manifesting, hold on, there's something else coming in here. It's not hard. Don't make it hard. If you're like sitting there and you're searching for like the perfect world, I don't want someone to put up there, I'm healthy. Cool. You are healthy. You're living and you're breathing. The universe wants to know, what do you want to know? Do you need lower cholesterol? Do you need to lose 10 pounds? Be that kind of specific kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and something for those that, because I can feel this coming in. Someone's like, oh my God, what about love? Oh, okay. So here's the deal with love and all that jazz. So, you put up pictures of what resonates with you. Is it a couple holding hands? Are they on the beach, or are they skiing, or where are they? Try to avoid celebrity couples. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Now, can you maybe put up a picture of a celebrity woman or a celebrity man? Yes. Singly, because the universe is going to bring you that or someone like that person, right? That resonates like that person.
Yeah.
But you always want to be careful what you're choosing, because like we said, what you think you can bring in, right? I mean, surely everybody has made it rain at least once in their lifetime. So it's all that fun, kind of cool stuff. And I really encourage that. Like last night, I'll tell you, I was looking at my vision board and I was like, yeah, I'm going to tweak it a little bit. And I printed off, but it was very specific, and I just printed off and I put something up there, and I heard, you could have been a little more specific. And I was like, wow, like I put a place up there and they're like, but look at all the towns, look at all the counties. Where? And I was like, oh my gosh. So there's always one more step. When you think you've gone all the steps, just double look and go, you know what? I bet I could be a little more specific. Like, you really want a Mercedes-Benz? Great. What color? What does it feel like? What's the leather? Is your initials in it? Is it electric? Is it like literally that wild specific? And or you can, if you look up feng shui even and say you don't want to do a vision board and you're like, I want to do feng shui. Awesome. I love feng shui too. I do that all the time. So Google up and look at how you are in your office and where is your success, area, and write on a piece of paper. What is it that you're wanting? I am the #1 podcaster in the world. Awesome. I am a New York Times bestselling author. Way cool. What is it? I am healthy. I am free of cancer. I am, married with 2.5 children and happy. I would put the word happy if you're going to go down that road. You just want to, right? You always want to go one more step is the point.
Yes.
And I want to be married. Really? Is that what you want? Or is it that you wanted the most amazing, loyal, loving, supportive partner by your side? I mean, I'm going to take that over just being married. Nothing wrong with being married, but it's just to show you like what you think and what you ask for is what you get. And so sometimes when you're getting something and you're not happy with it, you got to sit back and go, how did I ask for this?
Right.
So yeah. So that's just some tidbits on manifesting. I am a huge manifester. I love it. I can't get enough of manifesting and feng shuiing and doing it all. It's great.
It is amazing. Okay, so I've done this. I just started doing this. I went away about 3 weeks ago by myself for 2 days, me and my puppy. Was kind of going through some stuff, and I just needed to be by myself and listen to myself. And I went to Dollar General and got this little journal right here. I'll show it to you. This thing, Sunny Days Ahead. And I started writing in what I wanted my life, exactly what I wanted my life to look like. And I mean, I wrote stuff down like I want to live in an RV anywhere from 1 month to a year. I want to be able to travel the country. Okay, so my question to you is, if I write it in my journal, is that as powerful as a vision board, if I'm specific enough?
It can be, yes. It can be.
Okay.
It absolutely can be. And then what I would do is I would take that one step further and maybe always put your journal in your success corner in your office.
Okay.
So that's always hanging there.
Okay.
Or not hanging, but you know what I mean? But sitting there.
Sure.
But yes, that's a gratitude journal. That's really bringing things in too. Yes. And then it's the placement. I'm not just going to toss that journal on the floor. I'm not going to throw it on the floor of the car. That's like gold to me. Right?
Okay.
Like that's your world. Like, you're just not throwing the earth around, right? Like, you want to treat that like that's a gazillion billion dollars for you. So yes, absolutely.
Perfect.
Being very specific. You could be specific down to the dealership that you're going to buy it by. Look at Gander. Make sure that you're probably already getting the RV magazine too, like I am.
Actually, I'm not. I need to though.
OMG, Gander RV magazine. Hello,
Okay.
everyone. Yes, they'll
Okay.
be sponsors on my new podcast, on my podcast too.
Right?
They are freaking amazing. The RV magazine is great. It's so informative. I love it. Can't say enough good
Perfect.
things about them.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so before we have a couple more questions before we do this intuitive reading. I know we're already at an hour and 7. Tell me about your podcast, what it's called, and where people can find it.
So it's called Empowered Within, and they can find that on my website if that's really easy for people, jenniferpilates.com. Click on there, hit the word podcast, super easy. We have new episodes out every Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. I get confused because I do it at midnight. So if everyone wants to know the secret,
Yes.
I drop it midnight, but I get very confused.
Yep,
It's a blonde.
so do I.
It's a blonde moment thing. But anyways, it's live every Wednesday. So I try to help everyone in all the countries. We're in over 20 some countries now. I can't even think of everyone. I love you all for listening. It is about myself, and I bring on celebrities and spiritual healers and experts from around the world. And we talk about our challenges in life and how we've overcome them to living an empowered life today. The goal is to serve, to empower, and to help people get through what they're going through. And to realize that, wow, you thought you were having a hard day, but now you're listening to so-and-so's story. And if they could get through that, geez, I can get through today. And the mission behind the podcast is that to be heard and to inspire everyone around the globe that has the ability to listen. And so that has been amazing. We've been doing really well. So I thank everyone who's come over and listened. And if you haven't, please do drop over. And it means the world to me when people write me letters, and they don't letters, emails.
Right.
I'm dating myself, God. And they say, geez, this episode really helped me, Jennifer. And I'm like, that is soul food to me. That is the biggest payment. That's $1 million to me. That's what matters. Helping people and serving is what I have always been about. And this podcast is allowing that on such an incredible global level that I'm very proud of the baby girl this year that was born.
I love it. I love it. And for your clients, you obviously do stuff virtually, right? So if somebody was listening here and they wanted to do some kind of life coach or an empowerment coach, you do everything. They could go check that out on your website, right?
They can find all of that on jenniferpilates.com, and something that I will announce here that no one knows.
Oh, snap.
Coming in 2022, there is an expansion of the website that will allow people to have on-demand access to me through Pilates videos, through meditation, through healing. There will be a whole membership program. It's expanding the world of Jennifer Pilates one more step to be able to serve and help people around the world. So I'm really excited about that.
Yay! You guys heard it here first.
Yes.
On the bright side of life.
Shh. No one else knows yet.
I know. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Okay. Are we ready to do this? Okay. Is there anything that my listeners and I need to know before we do this? Or whatever you want us to know, you tell me.
Yeah. No. So we're going to do a little intuitive reading. And Melissa has already told me, I asked her prior to on air if everything was okay, if anything came up, and she has no qualms with me saying whatever comes up. So that's awesome. All I do for my readings, and this is exactly how I read, is I will ask Melissa's just the month that she was born. And so how my readings work is once you say that month, that helps me to tune in to your energies and into your guides. And that's how I do it. And then any specific questions are always welcomed. And a lot of times when you have a specific question, there's actually a whole story behind that you get from your guides that they really want you to know, because it's never really what you're asking. It's actually the behind the scenes I find with that. I tend to sometimes talk a little fast. Okay. That's because the information is flowing through, channeling through so quickly. So if I do, just tell me.
I talk fast too. It's okay.
Yeah. And that's it. So
All right. Do I tell you when my birthday month is?
Oh, yes. Yes. When is your birthday month, my dear?
August. I'm a Leo.
Mm-hmm. No. You actually have two specific questions that you'd like to know. You're curious to see if I'll come up with them. One is shorter than the other. Do you want to ask them or no?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Indecision doesn't equal failure. It doesn't mean you don't have the answers. It means you're supposed to sit and pause. And right now, there is a crossroads, and being at a crossroads should be exciting. It doesn't have to be anxiety filled. And when we're at those crossroads, we want to see and we want to embrace where we could go. We don't want to keep focusing on where we've been because we don't need to unpack those bags and bring those with us. Those bags can just stay where they are now. As we move forward, interesting. There's also when okay, so what they're telling me, they're being very generous. They're saying, okay, so this is for Melissa, but this is going to help a lot of people too. So when we're moving forward, and they're saying it's okay to leave bags behind, we're leaving the weight of the situation. We're not necessarily leaving the heartfelt emotions that we have or the good stories that are there. It doesn't mean those get left behind. Those are always going to be with us, but the stuff that we no longer need anymore, the ugly events, the angers, the woulda, coulda, shoulda, all that, that is where we're supposed to kind of just move away from and separate from right now. Now, even though they're saying that and they are saying, look, you're at a crossroads right now, a lot of your forward movement, a lot of your advancement will come about December 4th. Sorry, I'm also going to look at this calendar. They asked me to look at the calendar. December 4th onward. I would also say they're showing 14th, 15th, 16th of December for Melissa. Those are some really, really cool days for you, as are the 7th and the 9th. So you have a lot of advancement coming right now as we look through this. So we're here 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So the next 10 days, you're going to be receiving signs. You've been receiving signs as to how you should be moving forward. You're waiting for, well, like what's in between? Remember we talked before, like there's an A to a Z. You're looking for everything in between. And they're like, no, don't worry about it. Like just keep following these little bits of pieces. It's also okay to ask for help. So you have a lot of guides and angels around you who want to help you.
Mm-hmm.
They can't come in and help unless you ask. And that's something for everyone to know too. So if you're in a quandary and you're like, I just don't know what to do, they're sitting there and they're like, hi, could you just ask us for help? We want to help you, girl. We want to help you. So it's okay to say, I don't know who you are, guides, angels, fairies. Like, I need some help. Can you send me a sign? Do that. The more that you do that and you integrate and you begin working with them, the more quicker, that's probably not proper English, the quicker things are going to begin to move forward, where it's showing that they're actually saying not only are you at a crossroads, they're showing 3 roads for you, Melissa. So it's like you're standing here and you could keep going straight, or you could bang left, or you could bang right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, however that works. That's great. Those are called choices, and there's something called free will. And so you have that. You really like just a definitive moment that's coming. Your is coming, but there's still a few lessons and still a few things that we're needing to learn from the inside, and particularly the heart chakra. So in between here, okay, which is emotions, which is feelings. There's a beautiful protective layer around your heart. And while it's okay to protect our heart, we can't shelter our heart and keep it closed off. We have to remember that we've all, at some point in our lives, have had a great love. That could have been with a parent, with someone that's passed over, with an animal, with a child. You've been given that great love, whether that's still there or not, to open your heart. So you've had that love before, and then the heart got closed off. So you're going in through this transitional time of opening up the heart. which is hard, by the way. It's not easy. Growth is
Yep.
not easy, and it's never comfortable, generally speaking.
Right.
So, but remembering that while this is like a quintessential choice time for you. Okay. Choose love, not fear. The easiest thing that you can do is choose love, not fear. And in those moments of fear, remember that that's nothing more than excitement without breath, because you should be excited. If you are not excited, take 2 steps back for a minute and just breathe. So that's just in general what kind of comes in. They kind of veered off into a really interesting place. They're just saying, let it flow, let it go. Try not, and this is so much easier said than done, try not to control everything. Allow the necessary changes that need to come in. Okay. This is the only time that they're going to say not every I and every T needs to be dotted and crossed, because as quickly as all this is coming in, some of it's going to be erased, some of it's going to be changed. It's like, wait, one day I'm in love with purple, and the next day I freaking love yellow. What is happening? Go with it. Okay, then today it's yellow. Okay, cool. That's where I'm going. And they just keep saying, remember, ask for help, ask for help, ask for help. There are so many people. I mean, they just show this yellow brick road, and they take us back to earlier, the castle and the easy road. You don't have to take the hard road anymore. You don't have to make it hard. If something's working, why are we changing it? Yeah. Because we want to change the color? No, because you stick with what's right in your heart and what feels good in your heart. Now, there's grandparents that are showing up here. There's a fluffy little dog showing up here. There are 2 people showing up here who you know who they are, and they would rather me not say who they are. That's their request. And they're here for you. And everyone wants to help you. And everyone is cheering for you. They can't pull you anymore. You have to want to change. You have to want to be comfortable enough to take that next step, because you believe in yourself and you love yourself so much that you know that you're worth it. Does that resonate? Does that make sense? Yep. Mm-hmm. So without giving a lot of details, and these last 2 people that came in, that was a lot from them. Mm-hmm. They want you to know that they're here. Yeah.
Okay, well, you answered my question.
Do you have anything more specific that you'd like to know?
I guess one would be a question if one of those people is the
What if I said this? What if I said this? And this is what this person is saying. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yep. I'm so truly sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful. Mm-hmm. It's important to keep your face turned to the sunflowers. And know that the spiritual meaning with the sunflower is that that's God's flower. There's a lot of beautiful energy there. There are no coincidences in who you are and where you are and your name and the colors that you're using. There's no coincidence in any of that. It doesn't matter how big your tour bus is. It doesn't matter the microphone that you have. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your closet or wherever you are. None of that matters. It's the message that you're delivering. So remember that. Don't get caught up in that debris and that stuff around you. Always go back to center, to that alignment to your heart.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Any other questions? I know, I feel like I've left you a little speechless. Some of this was I
Yeah.
knew. Mhm.
I guess the only other question, which it seems like you answered, is like, am I for sure going in the right direction that I'm supposed to be?
You are. You do have choices. And while you like choices, you don't like choices. So you will be more clear on your path and more confident on your path as we get between December 4th and December 17th in total. But you'll have more clarity coming. You've got clarity coming the 25th and 27th of this month as well. So they've given you a lot of interesting dates for that. What is there something special or something that you used to do on Thanksgiving or around Thanksgiving with your family, a tradition or something like that? Sorry, they're bringing this in. This has something to do. There's a sign. There's signs that are coming. These breadcrumbs that are leading you on your path. So you're on the right path, and there's more to this path than you know. There you are.
What in the hell?
I'll tell you what happened. So that was it. That was where your mind and body received all the messages that it could comprehend today. And that was complete. Your message was complete.
That was okay. So for you guys listening, I asked Jennifer that question of going in the right direction, something to that effect. And our internet just went black. Like, she went black, I went black. That has never happened ever in me doing StreamYard ever. My laptop was fine on my internet. I could get into StreamYard just fine. My boyfriend was in there playing on his phone, no internet issues, but I could not get back in here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was what it was.
That'll happen a lot if I'm on the phone with someone too, or different things like that will happen. So your message was complete. You had your answers. And that was all that was a lot for you, especially coming in today, and the messages that came through and how how personal that they were. You were tapped out at that point. That was enough. And that's okay. And that's okay. That was beautiful.
Crazy. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing that. I sincerely appreciate it. You obviously saw me crying.
Me too. I was crying too.
I know.
Yeah. I'm so happy. I hope that in this time of, like we said, this is a time of quintessential choice. And I hope during this that this, has planted seeds to remember when we're feeling that fear or that indecisiveness or that I don't know, the anxiety, to always go back to heart center and to find the love in the moment, and you'll be just fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Jennifer, I have one last question for you that I ask all of my guests. What, in your own words, what does the bright side of life mean to you?
Oh, that is such a great question. The bright side of life is being happy, simple, and being in alignment with what feels great to you. And I know for me personally, after the last few years, couple of years, well, more than that, because I had a little bit of a hiccup a few years ago, medically speaking, and really what is important, it's the little things in life. It's the simplicity of life and just being happy and at peace. That is the bright side of life to me.
Yeah, I love it. And that's literally what I want my life to be, is simple, not complicated, and the little things. That's why I'm writing in my gratitude journal every day. And it's the little things that are making me happy, like my warm coffee or my robe in the morning. And I told myself the other day, I'm like, what would you do if you even took off 4 things off this list? You wouldn't have them, and you wouldn't get to be grateful for your robe or your slippers. And those are the things that we get to be grateful for. So absolutely love your answer. Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on here to share all of your knowledge about everything. I sincerely appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Melissa. This has been wonderful. And keep shining your beautiful bright light, honey, because the world needs you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much.